I really loved your reaction when I told you I have a 10-inch dick. That was nice. Hello.
Hello, sir.
What what is this for?
Alright, so we need to talk.
Oh,
Um,
what?
by the
So,
way, Corey, you good? Just let me know if you're like
it
here.
wasn't getting. I'm here. It wasn't giving me the end point. It wasn't connecting.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I did the thing. So,
So
what is it?
I've been recording everything. I have everything on record, voice files, everything. And you need to never contact me again, first of all, after this. But second of all,
What?
if I ever hear from you again, I'm literally gonna ruin your life. So, first of all, don't contact me again after this. But second of all,
Okay,
just
well, I
just in
won't.
case you don't know what's going on, let me explain, just everything to you. I'm sure you know, but you might not recognize it as wrong. I don't know what the fuck is going on in your brain, but it's not really right to be sending, nudes and trying to fuck someone who is barely 17. Or, maybe trying to fuck them when they were 17, or 16, sorry. So, what do you have to say? You got
I'm
anything to
just
like.
confused. I'm just confused. You've been like lying to me all this time to try to what?
Well, I mean, what do you have to say about that? Is why are you trying to fuck someone who is way younger than you?
Yeah. The fact is that
Because
you
because
would.
I don't
No.
really, as I told you, I don't really care much about age, and it's not a thing that's illegal where I live.
Well,
So
just because it's
Still.
no, hold on. That's the thing though. Like it's not illegal where you live. The fact is, just because something's legal, it doesn't make it any better.
yeah, of course, that's the thing, but this then results in a matter of opinion, doesn't it?
But it
If you
also
if
is
you
not.
feel uncomfortable with anything, you can tell me, okay?
Well, and here's the thing,
And
because everything I
you
have
don't
record. No.
have to talk to me ever again. I don't mind. I don't like, I just don't understand why you would go out of your way to do all this.
Well,
Why
here's
would
the
you put up
thing.
with me if you have such a problem with me?
Well, let me explain. I
Yeah.
have everything. And, multiple times when I was 16, I would tell you, hey, I'm uncomfortable. Stop that. And what would you do? You'd say, okay. And then what would you do 5 minutes later? You'd keep asking and you wouldn't stop until I just give in.
I
That
just thought it was more
saying
sort of
no means
shyness.
no. That doesn't mean you keep trying to get something out of someone who
I
is
just thought that was
literally.
more of a shyness thing. Like, I don't know. Like, that's the thing. If there's often a difference with someone just being too shy to say it instantly, and there's a difference between that and like literally having a huge problem with it. That was hard
Mm,
for me to say. That's like I know many people I that like that are just the shy kind of people.
yeah, are they 15, 16 too?
One of them is like older than me. She's like 27. I talk with her like every day. Like I'm not like there's a huge difference between all this and like someone who actually, you know, does all that stuff that you're implying of me.
Well, let
But
me.
here's the thing. Let me ask you something. You've added me back and you've apologized for all that,
Mm-hmm.
and now you've lied about all that.
Yeah.
Why?
And I like how
Why do
through all
you?
of this dude still has no idea how old I am. But
You told me something, but that's the thing. Like I told you, I don't really care that much.
well, here's
And
the
you can
problem
lie
with
about
that.
that to the far you want, but that's not gonna
So
mean anything to me. I can't guess when you're lying or not.
so Vezon, what you're saying
I
is you
just
don't
don't
care about age,
interest.
right? You just think it doesn't matter as long as that person,
Not,
wants in their like consenting, right?
and if they know what they're doing. That's like
Fucking
the
wrong.
moral view that I have. That doesn't mean I go out of my way to hunt for fucking kids. That's a whole
Well,
different thing. I don't do
well,
that.
yeah, and I
Okay,
agree. So
so
here's the thing. I agree. I agree. But here's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
The reason that there is an age of consent is because people under that age are still developing, so they can't consent because they
People are
don't
still
know
developing until they are 24 years old.
to a certain
It's not,
extent. But the
it
difference
doesn't
then,
mean, it does not mean that because someone is developing that they literally don't know anything. And
yeah,
the age of consent is very different depending on whatever place. It's a
and I
very
agree.
debatable issue to begin with.
And I agree. That's what
If
I'm
you have a
saying.
problem with it, I get that, but you know very well that there is a huge difference.
And that's
I
what I'm
simply
saying.
leave that up to the people that, do their thing. And maybe you could say, like, yeah, shit, I should be more careful. Fine. But that's a whole different thing. I don't get, like, this is the main thing I don't understand. Why are you added me back, and now you're telling me you don't want any contact with me anymore? I have no problem with that whatsoever. But you added me back
Well, if you would stop interrupting
to
me, I could
what?
actually give you an explanation. So,
Yeah, well, you were talking about something else, but then sure, explain.
and I'll get to that. So the thing is, and I agree, the age of consent is different everywhere. In most places, it's 16. Most places in the U.S. and most places in Europe.
Yes.
The second somebody hits the legal age, they are legal, but that doesn't make it any better because they just stopped being a child. Do you see what I'm saying? Just theoretically.
I think, I mean, one thing I do make a difference between someone who's gone through puberty and an actual kid, like someone before that. There's a huge difference.
What about the
That's
13-year-old
fucking
boy
obvious.
who you admitted to having, a relationship with? What about that? That's someone who's pretty
That
young.
that's yeah, that was a thing where I was like, this might be a thing that might work, but I wasn't sure. I told you that. So I let it happen however it happened.
All
That's the
right.
thing. He was like into me, and I was like, that's not necessarily harmful.
All right.
So just let it
And
happen.
so to answer your question about me adding you back,
Yeah.
um I think that you're dangerous. So I felt the need to get this and get proof of you
Why?
doing this shit so that there can be consequences for the things you've done because I think that you're dangerous. I don't think you're mentally well.
Why? Because I have
Not
different views on this.
no, not even just because of this. Not even just because of me accusing you of being a pedophile. That's not even just it. Uh like
Okay.
things with you claiming to be a god. Like that, that's not
It's not
normal.
even something I claimed. I told you that some people think that way of me.
Vezin,
It's a
I
bit,
have you
it's a
saying it.
very different thing.
I have you saying it. What do you
I
mean?
joke about that all the time. That's a very different thing. It's a thing that is, it's not a thing I just fucking blindly believe, like whatever God complex stereotype people make of that. It's a joke, it's an inside joke that happened because of some people doing some fucking paranormal shit with me.
Okay, could you
It's,
explain?
no. Besides that,
Yeah.
it's not much more than that. it's not that I just blindly believe that. You know, I'm more rational than that.
So, okay, fair, but let me
I've
parry. Let
messed
me let
around
me put
with
this to you.
paranormal things. Let me make that clear then.
Then why? Fuck. I have you like on record saying shit about like how you said you were fucking someone, and then they're like, "Oh, I can feel it in my ass." Jesus, feel it in my ass.
Yeah.
You made ridiculous claims, and you've been serious
So
about it, and I have you on record being serious about it.
yeah, I mean,
And I
I don't know why those people are telling me that then. It's a long list by now.
all I'm saying is that's not something a normal rational person does, okay?
Yeah, well, maybe it's not. But some people experience weird things. That's a simple fact. There are many stories
Yeah,
like that.
and I
This is not a
agree.
thing that I necessarily this does not come from me. This is from them. Yeah.
Okay.
So you mean to say that you've went to all this trouble because you think I'm dangerous because I have beliefs you disagree with?
I'm going through all this trouble because, and I think you're dangerous because
Yeah.
you've done things that aren't normal.
Yeah, okay. I know many people that aren't normal.
Listen, it's not normal when a 13-year-old
So
boy tells you, I have a crush on you. It's not normal to go along
maybe
with
that's
that. It's not
maybe that's
normal.
not. Maybe that's not indeed. I'm very willing to admit that. And I know many people have done way weirder shit.
It doesn't matter how
Like,
bad it is on a scale of 1 to 10. The point is, it's
way weirder
bad.
shit. Why?
Point is, you shouldn't have done it.
Maybe not. That's like I can agree with that. Maybe I shouldn't have
Okay, so here's the
let
thing.
that happen. But what is the point? It's still nothing more than
You did
a
something wrong, and there
thing.
needs to be consequences for your actions.
It's a thing that you people have a different view on than I.
Vezin, almost every place in the fucking world says, yeah, maybe don't fuck a 13-year-old. What do you mean? That's not something you can
I
debate.
haven't fucked him.
Okay, figuratively. You know what I'm saying. Most people would agree.
There's a difference.
Okay, Vezin,
You, yeah,
most people would agree that,
yeah.
you shouldn't have gone
That you
along with
should.
that.
Perhaps not. You know what? Everyone I spoke to, they were fine with that.
That's even
And
worse.
I personally am not even sure. And I have talked to people, literally a fucking psychologist who agreed with me, and that wasn't the only person with a degree in that sort of field. I've talked about this sort of thing with many people because it concerns me a lot. I think about this a lot. I've told you that. I didn't mean it. It has really messed me up. Not because I think that, you know,
Okay,
not just because of the stigma allowed like attached to it, because it is that, but also because it's a hugely complicated thing in practice. You could put an age to it or whatever, but the fact is that like, many people are very well able to do certain things which fall way outside of the norm without any harm done. That's how I live my life. I let people do their own thing. If they feel like something is wrong, they should discuss it with me, and I will try my best to solve it. And I
well,
will try my best to leave people alone where they wish that, and so forth. That's how
okay.
I see it. And if
So,
someone else messes with their own personal lives, even though like no one gets harmed or anything against their knowledge or will, then I think that's the wrong thing to do. That's why I
okay.
had such trouble from the beginning when there was a fucking 13-year-old having a crush on me. Do you think I did not find that weird? Of course I did. It felt weird because everyone says is weird. But that's
Well,
literally all it is. And I refuse simply the idea that because everyone says it, it's
so I have a couple just like three
I
more. Three. So
yeah, sure. I
let
I'm
me.
willing to solve all this. I told you that.
Okay, good. So
I just don't get
first of
it.
all, you said you talked to a psychologist about it. What did they say about
Yeah.
it?
Well, he agreed. Of course they did.
What did he agree with?
With that point that it was not necessarily harmful. That it completely depends on the fucking
Okay.
place, the thing, the exact situation. And
Well,
there are many others who did that. Honestly, the only person that I personally know that not publicly but in privately has made like an actual problem out of it that isn't fucking like really limited person in how they think is you. You're the
so
only other
I just
person.
I'd like to know like what exactly the situation was that you like gave to the psychologist. Just what.
I've given him exactly what I told you. Same story.
Okay. So
Yeah. I'm
and
not. Why
here's
would I lie to my own psychologist? They have They have like rules to not talk about that private thing anyway.
that's not how it
Not like
works.
I'm gonna. Yeah, but It's not like I'm gonna keep info from him.
Okay. So
In fact, that I'm here not publicly. The fact that I'm here talking about all this with you suggests that I'm not the kind of person to, you know, I'm a pretty open
well,
guy, and I also could have simply not told you that, because I know it's controversial.
okay. Well, that's not
But,
a great argument, but also here's the other thing.
well, the point is that I'm not exactly going to hide anything from someone whose job it is to help me out with that sort of thing, with my questions, my life issues, so to speak.
Well, here's the thing. You would lie to them. You could. A lot of people lie to them because they,
Yeah,
well, at least the ones that I've gone to are mandated reporters. So if
yeah,
you say that you're putting a child at risk, they would have to report that.
yeah.
And that's
But
why you would
that's
lie. But
but
that's
that's not the case here, and
okay.
they know the difference.
So that's good.
There is a huge difference, as I told you.
No.
Yeah,
As for you saying you would leave, you'd just leave someone alone if they didn't want anything to do with you.
yeah.
You contacted me after I told you not to talk to me. I blocked you on
I
everything and you reached back out to me.
Where, when? I don't even remember that.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
really
I
too bad
might
that you
have
don't remember
tried.
because I have
Um,
everything on film, so.
I mean, sure, but like, I might have tried to fix it. I'm not sure. I usually try to get an idea of what's going on, but you saw the story I typed to you after you blocked me in Discord. That's the last thing I typed to you. At that point, you threw me out of the call we were in out of nowhere, and then you blocked me. No, you didn't block me. You removed me. And I was like, what happened? So I tried to at least get an idea of what was going on, see if I could fix it. That's all. The only thing is that I tried to fix things. And then you came to me with that whole story, and I tried to explain it, but you were already just assuming the wildest things about me. And
Mm-hmm.
that's simply not true.
So,
It's nothing more than an assumption. And you can, yeah, sure, you can say, like, totally fine. You can say
well,
that some of the stuff I did might have been morally wrong in your field. Like, fine. Maybe it is to me as well. I don't fucking know. It's a very debatable thing.
It's not even about like me accusing you
Yeah.
of being a pedophile right now. It's not even about the age necessarily.
Yeah, sure.
If you
You just
remember,
think
like
I'm
when
insane,
I unadded
basically.
you, when I
Yeah.
when I unadded you, the reason
Yeah.
it was is because
Yeah.
we were in a group call with a bunch of my friends, and we were trying to make.
Oh.
I have all of this on recording because we were trying to make a YouTube
Oh,
video.
the first one. Yeah.
You wouldn't respect my boundaries. I kept telling you to stop, and you wouldn't. When somebody asks you to stop, you stop, and I literally had to have a private
That's
talk with you about it. And you
yeah,
agreed,
because
and then you
it's
didn't.
it's very hard to get an idea of if someone is just saying that as a joke or not, especially in your
Okay.
case. You do
And I
that a lot
agree.
in a very joking sounding way. I could not know that.
Okay, no, I agree with that. But the problem with that is, I privately called you and asked you to
Yeah.
stop in a
Yeah.
serious tone, and
And
then
it
you
was very
agreed.
hard. And you also said to me that some of that was fine, but not too much of it. So I would not, I can't perfectly gauge that. That's the problem. Like, I understand, but that's just sometimes something is too much, and that's a difference.
So I asked you to stop because it was too much.
Yeah, yeah. And I understand that. But too much is still a vague term. It can be that at some point someone will make such a joke or whatever that stands on its own. Okay, fine. But it can happen that, yeah, maybe it happens too often or whatever, you know. Sure. But that's a thing that 100% as well depends on the situation. That's not a thing I can perfectly gauge. Just like how I, for example, don't like to talk about my country, which is another thing that, you know, sometimes I do talk about it. It's all a gray area, you know? So, yeah.
That's not relevant to the situation. But
Well, it is a very similar thing because
no, it's
sometimes
literally
there's a
not at
boundary.
all.
No, sometimes there's a boundary that isn't 100% clearly defined, and that's okay. But you can't expect someone to perfectly always, you know, not cross that line while still being allowed to do some of it. Just
Well,
like, for example, I had a problem with my neighbor last time. That's a very similar thing. He kept interrupting me while I was talking, and that by itself is no problem with me. But at some point, I was not able to finish my story whatsoever, and I got kind of pissed. So I was like, "Can I at least finish my story?" And he can handle that, and I had no problem with him not being able to. You know, that's fine. But there is a certain point where it becomes too much. That's the thing that he can't always know perfectly. I have no problem with that. But I am going to say it when it's necessary,
which
just
sounds
like you did.
reasonable.
Yeah, just like you did. I have no problem with that. But you can't expect someone, anyone, not me, not anyone fucking else, to perfectly know that. The same thing goes for consent or whatever else. That sort of thing gets confusing. And your sort of humor and your shyness or whatever, even if, like, I don't fucking know if that's even real at this point. All this stuff is very confusing.
Okay,
And the thing about your age as well, same story there. I don't know what to think about any of this. And you know,
and the thing is,
I
I
don't
agree
get
with what you're saying on
why.
paper, but the problem is the situation you just given me is with your roommate. Is with your roommate about
Yeah,
telling a story. What I'm
yeah.
bringing up with you, you're 23. You were in a call with someone who was as young as 14, and you kept making sexual jokes. And I literally had, and I told you to stop, and you couldn't tell if I was
Was
joking
that?
or not, which is
Wait a sec.
fine. So,
Okay? Wait, you were 14 back then.
no, that's not what I said.
Okay, so someone else was. Okay, and now I'm okay. So now we're gonna pretend like fucking teenagers don't make dirty jokes all the time as
No,
well.
that's not what's happening. So, if
What's the
you'd let
point
me
then?
finish.
Yeah,
So, I asked you to stop, and you couldn't tell if I was joking or not, which is fine.
yeah,
So, I took you
yeah.
into a private call, and I said,
No,
stop.
yeah.
And you kept doing it. And I know that you're gonna say that, hey, it's sexual jokes. Teenagers make
Fine.
sexual jokes, which is fine. Yeah. The difference being you were making us uncomfortable. So that's
Yeah,
why. That's why it's a problem.
of course.
And you
I
need to, and
100% agree.
regardless of whether or not we wanted you to stop, you probably shouldn't be doing that in the first place with people who are underage. It's weird. It's
Well,
creepy.
I don't know. That purely depends on how you see that. If you think that the internet works like that,
This
this
isn't
is
about
just
the
a
internet.
form
It's
of.
about you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. If you think that this is a thing that predators do or whatever, then sure, I can understand that that might seem creepy from
Because
that
it literally
perspective.
is.
If if this is if this is a thing which you
Vezin,
just see as okay, this is just a
Vezin,
joke, then that's what it is.
Vezin.
It's literally
Vezin.
just totally dependent on that.
I've talked about it with the
What?
authorities. Vezin. It
Yeah,
is
yeah.
a
Yeah,
predator. It's a predatory thing.
it
Oh,
literally.
well, that's kind of weird.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not. What's weird
I
is
mean,
It
being.
maybe they're right. Maybe it's considered that. I don't fucking know. I've no idea how that. I just know that where I live and in many other places, it's all just about actually going for abusing someone, and that's not what I do. That's what I fucking hate. In fact, there's very likely chance that I've been abused when I was like fucking 3 months old or something.
Yeah, that sucks, but that's not what this is about. Sorry.
Of course, but I do want to make my intentions very clear, and there's a very big difference.
Okay, well, it,
So, yeah, yeah. I mean, sure, if you think that's weird, fine. I'm just a very open person because I like to openly speak about people's feelings, ideas. I have friends who, as I told you, they do fucked up shit, weird shit, but they don't harm anyone in the process.
they,
I find that interesting. I do not, I like to stimulate open conversations. That
which is
includes
good.
about that sort of thing. And that can indeed come off as creepy. It's that simple. I understand that completely. But it is nothing more on my end of an open conversation, just like I also discuss a lot of my personal problems with you. I
Okay,
discussed a lot of political things with you. Do you think that's perhaps wise? Depends on
Vezin,
what?
first
Yeah,
of all, with about your friends, I don't. And here's the thing I'm torn because
yeah.
I can't tell if you genuinely believe what you're saying is true, or if it's just you trying to defend yourself. But the
No,
thing
I do
is,
believe this.
okay, thank you.
Why?
So,
Why? You know, it's sad that you think about me this way. I mean, I can understand, but it's really sad.
about the open conversation things,
Yeah,
it's good to have open conversations. The
yeah,
problem with that being you've talked to me about politics once or twice.
yeah.
95% of the time the only things you're talking about, sorry, are inappropriate.
Oh, yeah, that's all games. I just have a dirty sense of humor. You know that.
But you're not joking. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
sometimes I'm telling a story about my own life in a way that I think is humorous. Sometimes I just want to, I find that interesting to talk about. I've talked about other things, but yeah, sure, sure.
Okay.
I do talk about that often as well. I mean, shit, like I may not be a fucking sexual predator, but I did, people did always call me a pervert in school. Like I was known for that. When I was fucking, I think I've been known for my dirty jokes since I was like 14 or something. It's been a thing that's always stuck with me. I mean, that hasn't really changed. And yeah, besides that, I guess most of what I've discussed is a lot of personal feelings and stuff like that.
Most of what you've discussed with me has been something that you shouldn't talk about with someone my age or younger?
I mean, maybe. I think there's nothing wrong necessarily with any of that to the conversation, as I told you. It just depends on how, it depends on what. My
And
intentions.
I
And my intentions are simply
agree.
to talk. And my intentions are simply to talk. And my intentions are simply to talk. Stop doing that.
No.
So, do you like big dicks? Oh, I wish I had a bigger dick. Rip. You, okay, good. Yeah, I
I
was
know what
getting a
game we
little
could
tired.
play. We could
You know,
play.
my balls are like really big today. Yeah, I got a 10-inch dick. What? What? Why are you so quiet? Hello? Lolly.
I'm not a lolly.
Oh, rip. Yeah, I guess. I mean, that depends on your bra size, honestly. But tell me, what do you like? Let's say, like, I don't know. Let's say you and I meet up, and you are going to like do naughty shit with me. What the fuck would you think of my dick then? I mean, that's but if you go to where I live, I mean, I can't guarantee I won't come over and fuck your brains out now, honestly. Yeah, but but like, how big are yours again? Actually, can we go?
That's for me to know.
Tell me.
I don't think.
What? Too shy for that?
No.
No. Why not? What is it then?
I'm just not gonna
Why are
tell
you
you.
not gonna tell? Why not?
Because
There's another reason.
I hope it hurts when you pee.
My intentions are simply to talk. I just
Okay.
see
I
you
don't know
as
about
like
that.
I always saw you as a good friend. Like I was like, okay, I
Okay.
can probably talk to her freely. Fuck. If
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I see what
shamefully
you're
I
saying.
couldn't. Yeah, it's literally just that. Like,
So
do you
here's the
think I
thing.
did
Your
just that with my
intentions.
fucking friends back when I was your age? I sure as hell did.
So you say
Yeah,
your intention. Your intentions are just to like talk to me as a friend. And all
yeah,
that. Last night, you literally showed me what you claim to be your penis. I
yeah,
have everything. You
yeah,
realize that.
yeah.
So all I want is like genuine explanation. So if you're lying about anything, just tell the truth.
Well, you literally asked me to send it, but tell me something. Like, what do you think of me having that dick size then?
I think you're lying.
Yeah? You want to see? Then,
I don't know about that.
well, I have a pic. You want to see? Then, you want to see? Then, so I did.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I have, like, I've told you this before. I'm not going out of my way to do anything like that.
Except you were.
Otherwise,
Because here's the problem, Gus. Wait, wait,
otherwise,
wait. Let me say this just real quick. Here's the thing.
otherwise, I was going
You
to, like,
pressured me to see
otherwise,
it. What do you mean? I have you
I
on.
haven't pressured
Yes,
you.
you have. I have you on video,
I have.
continuously asking me to see it, and I kept saying no. And you're like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" No,
That was a joke. What the fuck do you think?
it wasn't a
That's
joke.
no, it really was. But that I can understand that it might not come off that way. But this, of course.
Okay, so you know
I
what?
have not, like, let's remember, I have not shown you that until you asked me.
So here's the
That's,
thing. I'm gonna go
you
along with
know,
everything you're saying. I'm gonna
sure.
go along with everything you're saying.
Oh, God.
That you weren't trying to pressure me and it was all a joke.
Yeah.
The problem
I
with that
mean,
is
yeah.
when you're talking about something like that with someone who hasn't like
Mhm.
fully developed, the problem with that is they don't know how to say no all the time. That's why like
That
they're
was a
not fully
concern I had as
developed.
well. But that's not a thing that's necessarily a thing that relates just to someone's development. The person that I talked about just now that I talk to every day, that's like 27 or something, she has that same problem. It isn't able to be generalized like that.
So let me tell you about this. If there was, say, a 13-year-old and they were asked, oh my god, if there's a 13-year-old who had a crush on you, and and I'm gonna go with what you're saying with your story, and you're gonna say that you
Yeah.
weren't encouraging anything, you were just letting it happen.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it did develop into something which was maybe too far.
So
Like,
I'm gonna put this
but
like put
yeah,
this
I just let
situation
it
up.
happen.
If you were to say something, even as a joke,
Yeah,
like, "Hey, do you want to see my cock?" LOL. They
yeah,
A 13-year-old might not realize that you're joking because they're 13.
yeah. That's the thing I usually keep in mind.
It
But it
doesn't
is
seem
hard to
like you
gauge.
have.
Well, that's because everyone is different. And in your case, it's been very hard to gauge what, in your case, you were like actually uncomfortable with and what was like just shyness or whatever. That's a very different thing.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. That's in
okay.
your case. And
So,
many others.
Corey, you got anything you want to say?
Just peer pressure. That's all it is.
What?
It's just you peer pressured. It's literally all you did. She's been talking to me about this for days. You're literally talking about your fucking dick for days.
I mean, sure. I joke about it a lot.
I don't see it as a joke. You're
I can
talking about your
understand
cock.
that.
You're
Okay, so
talking about
Viz,
your
let
cock.
me let me pose you this. If you think it's really all a joke, nobody's laughing. I wasn't
Okay.
laughing. Corey wasn't
Okay.
laughing. You weren't laughing.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm not for the delivery. I like to deliver my jokes in a very dry tone sometimes. There are many other things. It could sometimes also be just a serious subject because that's what it is. For me
Okay.
to talk about sexualities by itself, I see it as just a subject and it completely depends. I know that it's a sensitive subject. Completely depends on the person, on the situation. I let that depend. I can't smell when all this is like, going down.
Okay.
That's the problem. That's a problem to me as well. Don't think I haven't been thinking about this.
If you really care
You
that
know,
much, you would really just not talk to people who are so young. So
just not
basically,
know what you think. Well, that's the thing. That goes somewhat against my morals because then it's like, wait, these people who are very well able
Vezon,
to speak, to be friends with me at least without trouble, like I should just avoid them. Is that what you're trying to say? That I should only
except there
talk to the
has been
people
trouble,
my age?
hasn't there? We wouldn't be
Yeah,
here if
of
there
course.
wasn't trouble.
Of
So
course. And in some
what
cases
you
there's
could have and
trouble, and
should
in
have
some
done
cases
is
there
to just
isn't.
you have the whole world at your fingertips. It's the internet.
Yeah,
Find someone your
yeah.
own age to talk to instead of people who are
Oh,
so
I do.
young.
I have. It's not something I go out of my
The
way
fuck?
Except
to say.
it is.
Then
I
literally, if you want to look for fucking people around your age, stick to
I
that. Leave the
have.
fucking young people alone.
I have found many of those people, but I'm also not gonna be like, okay, this person is like under a certain age, I should never talk to them. There's not necessarily harm in talking to someone.
Except you're not just talking to them with you,
Yeah,
and you like to
of
have conversations that
course.
could be considered inappropriate, so just
Of
don't talk to them
course,
about
I
that.
understand that, but
You
that's a
don't.
thing. As no, of course I do. Like, don't you think I haven't heard all the things about like fucking Me Too and whatever?
This
Did
isn't
you think
about that. This is about
of course
kids.
it is. Like that's true. But the thing is, it's very easy for things to escalate. I know that. I know how sensitive this is.
If it
But
does,
it's
you
still
should
a
use your
thing.
fucking brain and realize, hey, this isn't right.
I
It's
and
it's
you know
not
what?
it's
Where I'm
not a
at right now.
it's not about to me that's not necessarily to me it's more about you could say yeah sure maybe it isn't wise because of the risk because I might offend someone sure but at the same time to hide myself or someone else's feelings if they can be used in a very productive and useful way I find that kind of shitty.
Well,
That's my dilemma, and that's a dilemma I've had all my life. I have to consider it and reconsider it every time.
I think that you just genuinely like don't understand why it's wrong. Like you understand that it's wrong, obviously, but you don't
What
understand why. You don't
what do you
understand
mean?
like you can't grasp why what you're doing is wrong. You just know that it's wrong.
I think that what I'm doing is risky
Yeah.
because of the sensitive nature of it. Just like for example, talking to I don't fucking know, talk to a war vet about his experiences. Whatever. You can offend people easily. I get that.
It's
That's a
not about
risky thing.
offending people. It's about hurting
But
someone's
it is
development and
subjective.
emotions.
It is subjective.
No, it's
And that's the
not.
tough part about it.
Literally, when it comes sexually, you could literally traumatize somebody just by asking them a question. Isn't that
Yeah.
fucking hard?
I mean that
Shit that
is
you do,
true.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like if you were fucking talking to some other person that was way younger, like you were talking to Blue, yeah, you'd fucking possibly traumatize them for the rest of their fucking life.
That would be really sad. And I would definitely not want that. Let me make that very clear.
Well, you know what? It's too late. So basically, what's gonna happen now, and Corey, if you have anything you want to say, now's the time.
I'm good.
Okay. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna unadd you. I don't know what the fuck you're gonna do. You're never gonna talk to me again, and if you do, it's not gonna be pretty for you.
What are
So
you gonna do then?
I don't think
You
you'd
know,
want
a
to
lot of
find out.
people.
No,
So
of course not. Like I'm really, really done with this.
good.
I'm good.
And
And
I
I
Stick to
will
hope to
that.
tell you
God you
one
don't talk
thing.
to anyone else who is younger than me because you're disgusting.
Well, I will tell you one thing.
Okay.
It is unavoidable that I will have friends younger than me, older than me, whatever, and I'm not gonna just throw that all away. But I will tell you one thing: all this shit is such a mess
Yeah, it
and
is.
so exhausting
It
that it's
is.
very likely that I am going to do something a bit different about it.
Maybe
Because
just don't talk to fucking kids. That would be
Exactly.
so easy.
it's frankly it's
It's not friendly. It's
not.
sexual. You are
And if you
sexually
do,
talking to
don't
kids.
if you do, don't make sexual jokes at all. Don't fuck around with sex at all. Just talk to a fucking child. Don't try to, dig into their fucking pants. In general.
Sure.
Mm.
I
Okay.
don't try to do that though.
Yes, you
Let me
do.
make that clear.
I'm not gonna
No,
let.
I
No, no, no.
don't.
I'm not gonna sit here and let you deny it. You do.
No, literally, I do not go out of my way to search for anything like that.
Okay, you
I
know what?
don't
I
do that.
think we've pretty much just done everything we need to do here. So
This there's a
don't
big
ever talk to
difference.
me again. And I'm,
Yeah,
because I'm
sure.
not gonna sit here and
No
just let
problem.
you defend yourself when you are blatantly just disregarding things that you do.
I
If you're not
have
gonna be honest
done
about it, then there's no
things.
point in me talking to you.
Let me make this clear. I have
I
done
don't think I will.
things
Let's go,
like
Corey.
that.